Do you ever feel like you're pushing yourself to fit in, or that you kind of always have to perform socially? Or even that when you are hanging out with people, you feel more alienated and alone than you would if you were by yourself? I think in this realm of personal development and growing yourself and consciousness, it can become a very lonely path because not many people are walking this path and not many people are actively working on themselves and growing their consciousness. In this video, I want to talk about the depth of socialization and how important socializing is. And at the same time, sticking to our commitment to grow and develop. And at the same time, finding friends who resonate with that and who help us grow. So before we dive into your specific friend group and how we can change these things to make it more empowering, let's first dive into what socialization is and how deeply socialization is embedded into our DNA. So if you think about it, socializing has not always just been dinner parties and Instagram likes. It's been our ground and our bane of existence, our DNA. For hundreds of thousands of years, we were social animals, and the tribe survival depended on our social skills and our ability to work together and communicate and have these kind of social interactions. We need to appreciate how deeply this is in our DNA, and thinking that you're just a lone wolf or you're just this independent person who oh, I'm not that social, I'm introverted. It's like, no, socialization is everything you are. Like, socialization is the reason that you can understand the words that I'm saying, and it's not just me going blah, 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 blah. Like, the reason that these are words that you can understand is because of socialization. And the reason that you look around your room and you see cups and tables, and the reason that you literally see that thing as a cup is because you have a concept and an idea and the language of cup that you can place onto that object, and then you literally experience it and perceive it as a cup. Your mind is like putting that together. And then also even your sense of self. So even you being a human being, person over there, sitting over there, that's all social. That's all made up. There is no definitive person over there. There's no definitive person in here. If I didn't grow up with other people, I would not have a sense of self. I would not have a self concept or a idea of me being this person in here. It would just be raw experience. And so this deeply affects us, how we fit in to the tribe, who we hang out with, who we interact with. It deeply affects us on a very deep level. And I just want to spend this time to acknowledge that and to not hide from that and to really own that fact that we are social beings, and the people that we're around and the interactions that we have a deep effect on our psyche, our well-being, and our sense of self. All right, so let's fast forward from hunter-gatherer societies to today. So typically we grow up in a certain country, culture, city, and this culture or city has a certain level of development, right, that they function on. And we pick our friends within that level of development. So you'll have the autonomy, and even as a young child, you'll have the ability to pick your friends. So that will feel like, you have the freedom to pick, but you won't get the full range of different human levels of development. You'll get this kind of one level of development where you can pick your friends from. And a good analogy for this is like, it's one flavor of ice cream, but you get to pick the different shapes of it. So you can pick, these different friends, but they're all kind of within that same flavor. And it's important to realize that this is something that we had to do and to not beat ourselves up about it. If we chose friends who were maybe, less developed, or they were not really picking strong ideals or values, or their family wasn't either, it's not something to beat ourselves up about because we had to be social growing up. It was a survival need. And it was actually much smarter to be social. If we hadn't grown up being social and having those friends and doing those things, we would be extremely dysfunctional and screwed up today. So there's no beating ourselves up about the friends that we chose. And, everybody has that, that, oh, I shouldn't have hung out with this guy. It's like, you got to forgive yourself and just kind of let that go and understand that that was a part of evolution of you as a human being to socialize and make friends with the people around you. But here's the key, and we're fast forwarding to today, is that you don't have to keep doing that. It's kind of embedded in our genes that we need to keep hanging around the kind of people that we grew up with, the development level that we grew up with. But you can also branch out and meet more, you know, different kind of people, not even necessarily more developed, but more your vibe, more your tribe, more aligned with your values. And if you're watching Lion's Heart, you're obviously into consciousness and wisdom and, personal development. And so finding people who are on that same page can help so much in your growth and evolution and feeling supported on that path. So the point of me saying this is like, we really need to explore the friend groups that we're around and then question, why am I choosing these people? Is it just a pattern from, because this is the development level that I grew up with, so it's familiar. But then what if there's this whole sea of ice cream out there, different personalities, different people doing different cool things that I can interact with and learn from? And maybe I resonate more with those people and I can meet these different personalities and levels of development and grow with them and make my friends with them. And this brings us to our next point, which is analyzing your current friend group. So, with a non-judgmental and compassionate eye, we can look, or, you can look at your friend group and really, not in a like making them evil or bad or judgmental way, but really, analyze, how do you feel around these people, right? And this is just between me and you. We don't have to involve your friends. They don't have to know you're doing this. But like, how do you feel around these people? Do you feel supported? Do you feel trusting of them? Do you feel like they want you to grow, like they want the best for you? Do you feel safe to be yourself? Do you feel authentic? Or is there a culture of teasing and like, kind of toxic teasing where they're making fun of you, but not in like a fun way, in like a kind of derogatory way? Is there competition? Is there jealousy? Is there anxiety? Really, you. So like, how do you feel around your friend group at this time? And if how you feel around your friends is not good for the most part, then consider that maybe these aren't the friends for you and that there's something better for you out there. And don't fall into this trap, this illusion of, social media and Instagram and like everybody's out with their friends and they're having so much fun and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm sure you've been on the inside of that. I've been on the inside of that. And it's never what it looks like, like they take a great picture at dinner and then 10 minutes later, everybody's arguing or someone's upset or, they're just having shallow conversation. So don't fall into this trap of like needing to be popular and this illusion that social media feeds us and society feeds us, that we need to have like all the friends and, be popular and be at the parties and this stuff. It's really shallow and it's really not that fulfilling, at least in my opinion. So let's kind of cut out that belief or idea that we need to have like a ton of friends and fit in. My bold claim here is that maybe you don't need to fit in. Maybe it's better actually for you to be alone than to be with people who, are to have that huge friend group and all the parties and all these things. But, it feels shallow. It's better to be alone than to be with a bunch of people who make you feel alone and it doesn't feel deep and meaningful and you don't feel seen and you don't feel connected with. So here's my instruction on that is to rip it like a Band-Aid and simply, pull yourself out of that situation. Don't try to change the people around you. Don't try to change your friend group to fit you. Just realize that you don't fit, not making them bad, and simply be alone for a little bit and then begin to, try to meet new people and, see different groups and see what else is out there. Maybe even online, you can find people online if you're in a city that kind of has a general low vibe attitude. So really, it's just about moving on and changing, and it's going to be uncomfortable. Change is always uncomfortable. But you have to kind of look at it like, ripping it like a Band-Aid. It's going to be painful for a little bit, but you will adjust. There's two things really holding you back. One is that it's difficult to change a comfortable situation. So if you're comfortable with your friends and these things, it's going to be hard to change that. And two is that it's going to be difficult to find new friends. You have to be vulnerable. You have to get rejected. You have to go into awkward situations. But just trust that in the end, this is the right move and you'll be very thankful for it in the future. Now I want to bring up the ideal. So now imagine that you actually find your friend group, and what you can even begin to question, like, what is your friend group? Who are the people that you would feel inspired to be around? And what if you found a group of friends who you felt, like comrades on this journey of growth and development and consciousness with, and people who you could share insights with and share wisdom with, and get support from, and laugh and cry and struggle together, and really feel like how that would feel in your psyche to have that support group and that army of warriors on your side of this path of growth and love and consciousness. And really feel into that and kind of feel like, what would that look like for you? Like, who would those people kind of be? Good news is that you can go out there and find these people. You can embrace the fact that we're social animals. You can go out there and try different things: meditation classes, yoga courses, ecstatic dance, online meetups, whatever you need to do to really find this tribe, find these people. Go out there, try new things, let it be awkward, let it be weird, get rejected, all those things, embrace it all. And within a couple weeks, days, months, maybe, like, you'll have your friends. You'll start to have friends. It'll start to grow. It does take time. It is an investment, but it will start to grow, and you will start to have this group and community before you know it. And most people are actually very friendly, and they want the same thing. Like, they want those friends who are into growth and development. And the key point here that I really want to stress is for you to be the friend that you're looking for, right? So a lot of this video has been about finding your friend group, like who you're looking for, who's toxic, who's, but also consider and be self-conscious about, how are you showing up? How are you supportive? How are you as a listener? Are you present with people? Are you sharing interesting ideas? Don't just be in this idea of like this mode of like take, but also when you're finding and switching your friend group, what are you giving? What are you providing? What's the value that you're providing? And if you come into these courses and classes and, ecstatic dances and these things with that attitude of, I'm going to give, I'm going to provide value, then trust me, you will have a ton of friends in no time, especially if you're kind and you're, authentic and you're in your own, you're giving that vibe of safety and recognition to people. That will be really powerful in your journey of finding friends. Another thing I want to introduce here is like this idea of quality over quantity. And it's like I said earlier, you can have 100 friends, but if it's shallow, then it's not going to be fulfilling. And I personally would rather have like 3 or 4 close friends where it's like deep and it's fulfilling and I'm really myself, than 100 shallow friends. And also quality over quantity with your time as well. For me, I like 5%, 10% of my day tops to be social. I like to be alone. I like to be in solitude, but I also recognize my social need as a human being. And I don't rip that away from myself, thinking I'm some spiritual aesthetic, living in a mountain. I don't need people, blah, blah, blah. It's bullshit. So I check WhatsApp messages. I do calls. I sit with people at dinner. And it's really like, maybe it's an hour a day of me being social, or 30 minutes, but it's really high quality. It's really like connecting with that person. I'm very present. I'm enjoying that time. And that's what I want for you guys as well. So don't pressure yourself to be super social. I think we don't need to be super social, but I do think it's something that's important. It's important for your psyche. It's important for your growth, is your community and your tribe. And also just letting go of the past, letting go of where you grew up, letting go of the people you grew up around and that self-identity that was formed around that, realizing that that was a part of your growth, but you don't need to do it anymore. You don't need to be in that same mindset. So free yourself from that so that you can really expand, and the world is your oyster, and really take advantage of the time we live in and go meet all kinds of different people and have all kinds of different experiences and broaden your horizon, broaden your scope of what's possible for you. And with that, I wish you guys luck and lots of love. Let me know how it goes, and talk soon. Cheers.